more. Light versus dark. Light is beating dark 50 to 5. So if you want to see the dark side get in quickly, I believe the run is tomorrow morning. And Dimitri versus Ricky in Oracle of Ages is 50 to 30. Dimitri with 50 and Ricky with 30. And then a heated battle between the Lion King and Aladdin's Nest, 55 for Lion King and 60 for Aladdin. I'm quite partial to Aladdin myself, but I'm just happy to see the action. So,
right?
Yeah. You see me?
Yep, you're good.
Okay.
All right.
Hello.
Okay, welcome.
Hello.
Okay. So wait, could they hear me when I was talking just now?
Should be able to hear you now.
Cool. Just tell me when I'm good to go.
Set up here. You can go ahead and plug.
Okay. So yeah, we've got Aladdin versus Lion King. $5 difference. Aladdin's at 60, Lion King's at 55. So that's anybody's game at this point. If you want to see the dark side over the light side in Jedi Knight 2, it's going to take a little work. Light side's beating dark 50 to 5. Dimitri in Oracle of Ages has 50, and Ricky has 30. So that's pretty close as well. We've got plenty of Final Fantasy VII names up for grabs. Oracle of Ages, Ed is in the lead with 30. And then LADX, we've got Iwata and Dungary tied with $5. So plenty of stuff coming up. And again, this is JRTA Marathon. We are raising money to bring 2 Japanese speedrunners to AGDQ, Honky and Suzuri, and they're going to be racing Kirby Superstar with me and Use Pizza. And Suzuri is also going to be doing a co-op run of Kirby's Dream Land 3 and participating in the Donkey Kong Country relay race, playing Donkey Kong Country 3. So it's going to be a fantastic time, and we're already having a great time. We are within $300. I think we're $260 away from the goal currently. So let's keep it up. I want to see this happen, before I have to go to work today.
And how soon is that countdown? Let's make sure we don't disappoint the people.
That is in 3 hours from right now.
All right, I think we can do it.
5 p.m. EST.
Okay, everything sounds good to me on stream.
All right.
I think we're ready to go.
All right. You want me to count down or vice versa? Either way. I'll count.
Go ahead.
Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So first thing, I'm gonna do a trick real quick. It's called training mode skip. I got it. So the first thing you'll notice here is that the fastest form of movement is looping, and I'm being controlled completely by ink right now, which is, as you can see, I have a limited amount. There's a meter, and so a lot of this game is just ink management and trying to avoid specific enemies that would give me power-ups, because they waste a lot of time when I get those on accident. But here I'm going to get one intentionally. This is... oh, whoops. This is a wheel. This lets me go really fast through this level. Alright, that's the first level. You're going to see me reset right here, because it's faster than playing through that little minigame, and just go right back into my file. Alright, you just saw SimCity, but this is Tiny Town. It's a better version. So this level is all about these tiny little rooms that I go through. I go through these little tubes to go between the little rooms, and the movement between them is all really well defined, so I can just memorize the sort of little ink patterns that I'm supposed to do to get through it most efficiently. Here I sort of have to weave through all these little cannons that waste a lot of time. Alright, here are these little star blocks that disappear when I touch them. They're kind of annoying to go through. And here's the first example of like a mini boss. I have to kill these guys in a specific order so that they, so all the enemies will spawn when I want them to. This screen in particular is just like a ton of tiny little rooms that you just need to optimize the movement between all of them. And I know exactly where I'm going, so it's pretty easy to do exactly what I want. And that's Tiny Town.
Do we have time for a couple donations?
Yeah, go ahead.
So a couple minutes ago, we have McNuggies420 donating $42. Nug City was first in my heart. I would like to dedicate this Oracle of Ages file name to my father, McNug, or Mr. Nug. My father, Mr. Nug. So thank you, McNuggies420. Nug City was first in my heart as well, so thanks. And then 4 minutes ago, we had Mashy donating $50.20. I'm sorry, Tanner, but since no one ever does runs with Ricky, I have to put my money on him. Have fun with your 3-minute time loss cap. Thank you, guys. Keep the donations coming.
Okay, so here you're going to see me grab wheel again. It's a really fast form of movement that doesn't cost any ink. And I just get to sort of ride through the level without any input. It's kind of nice. Alright, and so after every 3 levels, you have to do a boss game. And I'm gonna get Krakow out of the way because it's the hardest. You have to do this really hard mini game before the boss fight, and the boss fight itself is really technically challenging. You have to kill all these enemies before you can progress, and you only get to move around using these little trampoline bars that I place down. Doing pretty good though.
We have $20 from Bonesaw. No, just thought I'd donate $20 to the cause. This may be in Canadian dollars, in which case this donation is only around 12. I think you managed to make it US dollars. Put $10 towards Ribkilla's Aladdin run and $10 towards naming Tifa Bone Mom. Keep up the good work, everyone. Thank you.
Oh my god, I just got like a godly pattern. Okay, that was actually really good. I saved it. Normally I want him to go towards the floor because it's really easy to bounce between the floor and Cracker Jr. But when he goes to the ceiling it's really difficult, but I got a really good pattern where I didn't even have to do any input and I would just bounce between the wall and him. So that was really good. Alright, here you're gonna see the first instance of burning, which is like a sort of firepower. You go really fast with this, and it's pretty easy to control for the most part, if you know where you need to go. I'm gonna do a strat on the next screen where I try and keep this for as long as possible, but this power isn't really friendly for going vertically, so the only challenge is getting to that, really. And as long as I don't get hit, this should be good. Yeah. Oh, that was really, really nice. Okay. Yeah, you move really fast with burning. My favorite power-up. It's really fun to use, but you only get to use it a handful of times in the entire run.
Yeah, $15 donated by Saka. I've spent at least my entire morning watching JRTA. Good luck at AGDQ. Thank you, Saka. If you are in chat and you want to put that to something like a file name or, you know, between Aladdin and Lion King or something like that, you can just let me know in chat and I'll put it there for you.
One of the downsides of resetting is that I have to manually go select my level, whereas normally if you didn't reset, it would select the level for you. So good menu is kind of important as a result. But the reset is definitely worth it because it saves like 10 seconds per reset. Okay, this is probably one of the hardest screens in the game. I'm really bad at it, but shouldn't be too bad. It's going pretty good. This vertical movement in this game in general is just really difficult, and I think the developers knew that because towards the end of the game you can see a lot of vertical sections rather than a lot of horizontal like you do in the beginning, which is sort of, I guess, to ramp up the difficulty of the game. Here's another mini-boss where I just get this power up to make it a little faster. And here's the first example of like a no ink field. I don't know the exact name of it, but basically when you're in it you can't draw any ink, and not being able to draw ink is really bad because you have almost no control over yourself besides tapping. Here I'm gonna get burning again. This is the last time you might see it at all, I think. Definitely for a while. It's technically in some other levels, but it's not faster to get it or use it. Alright, here I'm gonna do a little auto-scroller skip. It's fine that I took damage there as long as I just missed that platform. It's really hard to get off of it once you get on it, and it wastes a ton of time. I wish I had kept burning there, but it's not too slow to go through here without it. Something that's annoying is if you take damage to lava, you can't pick up a copy ability soon after that, so I was kind of not able to get that other backup one after I took damage. I can get one right here. Oh, that was clutch. You're supposed to do that in a very specific way so that you get the right firebar pattern. I kind of messed it up. Oh, I'm going into this with 1 HP, that's kind of not good. Because your health carries over, but it should be fine. There is some health that I can pick up, actually, in this game. As long as I just don't hit a spike or something. Right here, I can get a soda, I think, is in that block. Yeah. Good. The reason I'm worried about my health in this in particular is because while Kracko Jr. doesn't have any way to hurt you, Kracko actually like shoots lightning at you, so you really do not want to go into that fight with 1 HP unless you're really confident in your ability to hit him, because if you hit him, he won't actually activate any lightning and you don't take damage from him, but you have to be really quick and you have to be kind of lucky because when he fires off his lightning is random. Oh, that's not good. Need to go back down and get that guy. Sometimes you just kind of have to get lucky with these enemies. You don't always have really good control over yourself. Also, I will admit I'm a little out of practice with the block attack game. It's one of the most difficult mechanics in this game is block attack movement. Oh. Come on. Alright. That was fine. That was good.
I'm gonna take a minute to kind of talk about the marathon here.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is JRTA3. We're raising money for 2 Japanese runners to come to AGDQ. We have Suzuri, Bako, and Honky, aka Pure. Suzuri is going to be running in the co-op Kirby Dreamland 3, as well as in the Kirby Superstar Race, and in the Donkey Kong Relay. And Honky is going to be in the Kirby Superstar Race as well. So all your donations are going to go to helping get those Japanese runners here. So if you can find it in you to donate a little bit to help us get them there, that'd be great. We have some cool upcoming donation incentives. We have some Final Fantasy VII names. We have, let's see, we have... Barrett only has $5 for RPC, so that one would be very easy to snipe if you wanted. Sid only has $10 for Boom Shaka if you want a different name, or if you want to try to put Boom Shaka farther in the lead, that's fine too. We have a bid war over which animal buddy to use in Oracle of Ages between Dimitri and Ricky. Ricky is in the lead right now because of Machester's donation, but Dimitri's not far behind. I'll give you the totals when I can edit this document, but and then after that, we have Lightside versus Darkside in Star Wars Jedi Knight. Lightside has $50, Darkside has $5. So if you want to see Darkside, start getting in your donations now. And then last thing is that we have the bid war between Lion King SNES and Aladdin SNES. We have Aladdin is up 55 to 70. 70 to 55, I guess. So if any of that strikes your fancy, definitely just try to donate. And,
is there anything else you'd like to say?
I don't know. Is
Go!
there? Do we hit it?
We did.
All right, goal.
All right,
We
good
hit
job,
our
everyone.
goal. I think your spiel did it.
That's awesome.
Might want to check the latest donations there.
We do. We have a brand new donation here from I Ate Your Pie. Just wanted to say congrats on a successful marathon so far to all those involved. Thought I'd get that snipe. Thanks a lot, Pi. Thanks a lot to everybody who's donated.
The donation, by the way, was $105, so thank you very much,
right.
Pi. So with that in mind, I just got to point out to everybody that we've met our goal. So thank you to everybody that donated and helped make it possible again. 3rd year in a row, it's impressive. The marathon's still going to continue. You know, we're not done streaming just because we met our goal. And I've transitioned it at this point, so all future donations are going to go towards Doctors Without Borders. You're still going to be entered to win the prizes if you donate during the correct blocks. You still can pick file names and character names and all of that. It's just your money is now going towards charity instead of towards funding the Japanese runners, because we did make it. So thank you again to everybody.
Okay. So, back to the game. You saw me go through Rift Ruin, this was Contrast Cave. Pretty straightforward levels, to be honest, so didn't really need a lot of commentary anyway. But now I'm gonna go to one of the levels that I regard as one of the most challenging, just because it's really long, and on top of that, it's a water level, which, you know, water levels are not known for being easy in most games, or enjoyable mechanically, I should say. Water mechanics in this game are... they're fine if you know how to use them, but they're not pleasant, I'd say. This is actually going fairly well. Here I'm gonna sort of conserve a lot of ink because I have to stay airborne for a while. If I'm good, which I was, my movement was just so that I would not hit any of those spinning blades, which is good. I do not want to take damage in this level. Like I said, health carries over to boss fights. In this next boss fight, there are a lot of really... they're not random elements, but they're really hard to deal with, so I'd rather have as much health as possible going into the next boss fight. Which will be different from Krakow, because I'm done with both Krakows now. There are 6 fights, or 3 fights, but you have to do each one twice, and it gets harder the second time you do it. Alright, here I grab this power-up because it's in the way, and it also really helps with this next section. I guess it's technically faster not to get it, but I think just by not having to worry about mistakes, it's a lot more consistent. Basically just want it so that I can hit those colored switches while not having to worry about sinking down to the bottom without stone, because you just naturally float up, and it gets hard to multitask like that, especially in a game that runs so quickly. You have very little time to do any inputs in this game. But as you can see, even underwater, looping is the fastest mechanic. And here, this end portal sort of moves around, but it always spawns over there. I can just go straight to it. Alright, here's Cart Run. Basically, I'm gonna have to be grabbing this food to speed me up, while also dodging enemies. And the enemies are kind of hard to dodge, especially when you're focusing on grabbing as much food as possible. And these are in a set pattern, but the pattern isn't exactly easy to memorize because it's fairly long and kind of challenging to actually be in a specific position to get the max speed, which is what you want. Because to get a max speed, you have to hit 2 at the same time, and it's not exactly easy, and sometimes something like that can happen, which is really dumb. Or you get hit, and then the food doesn't do anything. Or that. But you're really in no danger of losing this fight, because it's rubber banded, and they give you a ton of leeway on the last screen. As long as you just don't die, which is why I wanted help. Easiest cake. Alright, so this is a fairly boring section of the run in my opinion, because there are 2 auto-scrollers. Not back to back, but within like 2 levels of each other, so I don't really like this part of the game. but the parts before and after, or before the auto scrollers are pretty good. Yeah, whenever I get to an auto scroller, feel free to take over with donations or anything if you have them.
Sure. Yeah, let's see if there's anything up to date now. As you heard from Golden, we hit our donation total, so thanks everybody again for that. That's really awesome. It's the third time in a row. But any additional donations at this point will be going towards Doctors Without Borders, which is the same charity that AGDQ is sponsoring, so that's good. Yeah, I've kind of talked about the donations since I guess I can say it again. We have some Oracle of Ages file name is going to be the coming up next. We have Mr. Nug in the lead with $42. Up next is Ed with 30, and then we have Arby's and Penny kind of trailing. If you'd like to push one of those into the lead, or if you want to put in your own, feel free to do that pretty soon. Link's Awakening DX file names, we have Wata and at $20 and Dongri at $5, so if you want something there, good time. Yeah, thanks again for all your donations. Appreciate it.
Alright, for safety here, I'm going to grab this checkpoint, because I'm known to die to this auto-scroller when I'm not paying attention, so... And because it is an auto-scroller, I like to mess around sometimes, and, you know, covering all my bases. It only wastes like half a second to grab it. But by comparison, if I were to die, it would waste probably upwards of 30 seconds, so... It's worth the trade-off for the ability to mess around in this. Sign in my name there. All right. So here is another really technically challenging level. This one is just very long and has a lot of rooms that are fairly difficult. First one isn't too difficult because that you have to tap these lanterns to see, but just because I know where I'm going. But there is some still like really difficult platforming between with the weave like in and out of all these like semi-permeable barriers that you can only go one direction. So I tap the lanterns just for the viewer's sake. I actually don't really need them, but it doesn't really hurt me. If I were just to navigate it in the dark, no one would really know what's going on. Here I'm just gonna gracefully float down because it's a lot easier than looping through those spikes. Same with here. I could loop, but it wouldn't be guaranteed to be faster because I have a pretty good chance of getting stuck. Alright, here I just have to tap all these bombs really quickly. And on to Polopolis. This is a good stage. This would be a good stage if it weren't for the auto scroller at the end. It's actually the first two screens are actually really fun. Because while this is vertical, like it's good vertical movement. You have plenty of things to get your ink back on. And here I'm gonna do a little skip and go through that cannon. And here I'm gonna skip this platform and weave through all these shots. good. Here, basically, you're just going around and around and around the same room, but every time you get to a new area, you unlock something else, and then you just have to keep going back through it until you finally get to the end. A really neat design. Oh, that was close. I try not to go too fast on that because sometimes the enemies make your final position on that platform really scary. Like, I almost fell off there, and because there's an ink zone, I would have just been screwed. Sort of just let the cannon fall to me there.
Just wanted to say that I's very generous $105 donation has gone to naming Red 13 Oh My Dog. So if you'd like to support that, or if you want Nago or Suki, which are at $20 and $10 respectively, to eat it, make sure you get those donations in. Not impossible yet, you got some time, so...
Alright, I'm right on about with the audio cue of where I'd like to be, so that means that the first two screens went pretty good. Alright, here it is pretty much futile trying to dodge those enemies, so I just sort of just have to deal with this. I don't want any of these powers, they just waste time, but it's really hard to dodge them and not take damage. Come on. So this auto-scroller actually doesn't really progress until you get to a certain point, so you have to... It's an auto-scroller mixed in with, like, some rapid movement, which I'm kind of messing up. Because if you don't... It'll just stall if you don't get to a certain position, but it is an auto-scroller for all the parts where the screen is actually moving itself. Here I grab some health just because I have another cart run right after this, and I would like to be at full health, so the enemies don't kill me in there. Alright, so we're done with the bad auto-scroller section. There'll be another one later, but it won't be nearly as bad. This is like pretty much exactly the same as the first one, except now DDD is going to throw these hammers at me, which I can sort of weave in and out like that and avoid them. Kind of messed it up. But there's plenty of health in this room, which is good. There'll be a bunch of sodas that just fall from the ceiling if you're there to catch them. And I missed all of them, great. I'll have to catch them on the final screen. Actually, no, there's Max Tomato right there. I'm good. Doesn't really mean anything if ADD is ahead of you at any point. Like I said, there is a lot of rubber banding, and there's nothing really you can do to prevent him from looking like he's ahead of you, but he'll always fall behind. As long as you don't die, it's honestly really hard to lose this. I don't think I ever have lost. I think the only time that I ever lose is because I die. And even dying is pretty rare. That was mostly when I was just starting out. Okay, there you go.
Just want to remind everybody that the grand prize for donating is a Super Famicom, generously donated by our very own Retro Saiku. It comes with a controller and cables, so if you donate $20 across the marathon, you can do it in multiple donations or all in one, or whatever you'd like, but you're going to be put in the drawing to win that. definitely check out Retro Saiku's eBay store as well. He provides a lot of retro games and retro accessories for the speedrunning community and for anybody who's just an enthusiast or collector as well. So definitely get in your donations at any point at all for that.
Alright, Cold Course. This is a good level. It has really good music, and I don't know, I find this level is actually really fun to me. Just because the movement's really interesting. And while it is, like I said earlier, vertical movement is generally harder, the vertical movement you do in this level is all downward, for the most part. And the second screen is completely horizontal, so it's a good mix of everything while still being pretty good. But here I don't need this, but I can't really avoid it. Here, oddly enough, they put wheel into this level, so I'm just gonna, take advantage of that. Free fast movement. I'm gonna ditch it here pretty soon because this is a fairly difficult little puzzle section, and it's very vertical. Wheel does not do well in vertical sections, but you're gonna see me try and do it in a later level if I'm able to keep wheel for long enough. You keep wheel past when you're intended, and the screen right after it is really vertical with stretches of really horizontal sections that make wheel super worth it if you can keep it and perform well. So you're going to see me do that a little later, but it's not worth it for this section because I'm going to have to grab another power here anyway. I grabbed freeze here because, as you can see, when I'm using freeze, I fall very quickly downward. And because this next section is like super vertical, it's a really nice power to have. And I lost it. That's fine. You don't really need it for that long, as long as you have ink. Actually did that back up really well, so I didn't even really lose time. Here you're going to see me do an upside down loop, so I dodge all those, and I don't have to ride the platform. Okay, this is what I regard as the hardest level in the game, so we'll see how this goes. This is the level where I'm supposed to keep wheel. You'll see when I get it, it'll be very obvious when I'm trying to do it. Again, this is another level where I do not want to take damage because having high health is pretty important. I'm not going to grab that though because I don't need it. Kind of regretting that now. That's fine. 2 HP is more than enough as long as I just don't take damage here. Because there's a mini boss coming up where I do not want to take damage. And if I do, I don't want to take more than 2 damage because that's how much health I have right now. And dying in this room is the most costly in the entire game, I'd say. Just because the only checkpoint is really far out of the way. It's not even worth getting because it's so far out of the way. Okay, so I want to keep wheel here. Make sure I don't take damage, and I really want to land on a platform here. I didn't. Oh, but I'm in a pretty good spot. I'm going to ditch that so I can get on to a new one. Okay, that's fine. I lost wheel. Alright, now I'm in a good position. Gotta grab this guy real quick. Okay, max tomato, that's fine. Alright, and yeah, that went fine. Okay, as long as I didn't die. That's perfect. So this is what I like to call poverty wheel. Spark, because it's poor man's wheel. It'll get you through this level, but it won't get you through this level quick. Oh, that was actually really good. It makes this section really nice because you can't do that with Wheel. You have to just dodge everything. But Spark lets you just clear house. Alright, but now I can get rid of it. One thing to note is whenever you see like these really long horizontal sections before these huge vertical sections, it's really important that I, as the runner, tap a lot, which is, you'll see me like spinning, this is me tapping. It's really important that I tap a lot in the horizontal sections before the vertical sections, because while I'm on the ground, I keep getting ink, and I need a ton of ink for vertical sections, and so it gives me the most amount of ink for those vertical sections, which is why you'll see me do that a lot. Here, okay, I didn't want that, but it's fine. It's really hard to avoid that guy. This is another really hard stage, just because wind is super annoying. So bear with me if it seems like I'm failing really poorly. Actually, I'm doing this quite well. That was amazing, actually. Wow. And that's fine that I took damage there. I didn't want to pick up that tornado guy. Tornado is really annoying. And there's like plenty of health here, so if you see me take a lot of damage, it's really fine until the next screen. The next screen, I want a lot of health, and you'll see why. Didn't want that, but okay. I'm just gonna grab this because it's really hard to dodge everything here. Alright, that was fine. Okay, now I'm full health going in here, which is really good. Because there's a... I'm gonna have to do some damage boosts here in a second, most likely. It always ends up me taking at least one damage. Sometimes I do damageless, but it's not on often. I might do damageless right here, actually. Wow. Yep, that's damageless. Fantastic. Okay. There's a max tomato there anyways, just in case. Thing is, that section right there is actually pretty difficult to do without taking damage, and the checkpoint is conveniently after the really difficult section, so if you die, you just have to do it again. Oh, and that was a really good section. I didn't get any beams. And I had to be careful there to dodge that balloon enemy. Besides that little flood there at the end, that was probably my best canvas canyon. Okay, this is Paint Panic. So basically I just have to draw these shapes, and they're set shapes, so I kind of know how to anticipate them, but the screen that I'm on right now is not very good. So if you see me mess up a lot, just bear with me. I'm gonna go as fast as I can, confidently. It's most difficult to go between those tiny little dots that are really close together, because the hit detection sort of breaks down a little bit on this screen. Like there, I tapped that really early and it didn't register. A lot of these aren't registering just because this is on an original DS and it's kind of old. I'm only using this for the sake of capture. Normally my preferred device to run this on is, I have a new 3DS XL that's really nice for this game.
It's a good time to plug some stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so talk about the incentives coming up. We have, I've mentioned this before, but we have the Oracle of Ages bid war coming up. We're between Dimitri, using Dimitri as the animal buddy at $50, and using Ricky at $80.20. So if you would like to see Dimitri instead, definitely get your donations in. I After that, we have a bid war between Star Wars Jedi Knight Light Side and Dark Side. Light Side is at $50, Dark Side is at $5. So, a little bit to go there on Dark Side, but definitely still achievable. You have some time left on that. And then we have the Disney bid war between running The Lion King and running Aladdin. Lion King is at $55 and Aladdin is at $75, or is at $70, sorry. So very gettable for either of those, pushing Aladdin into the lead or taking Lion King back over. So if you want to see any of that, just definitely donate and include your message in the comment of which donation you'd like it to go to. So.
Right. Wish I had gotten some health there, but it's fine. This next screen is really long, and I'm gonna have to do some damage boosting. Plus, there's a lot of risk of just taking damage in general, so better to have more health. But it's fine without it, and as long as I get that. Alright, I didn't mess up the puzzle, so okay, that's bad actually. I needed health. So now I'm gonna have to do this a little slow. You have to watch these little cutscenes. Have to be sort of careful here. Normally I would have just damage boosted right through those lasers, but didn't really waste that much time, just a couple seconds. Alright, there's a really good chance I'm going to take damage here because just the way these buttons are placed beneath these lasers, like you see stuff like that happen all the time. But I only took 1 damage, so that was good. Okay, saved it. Wrong one. Okay. This puzzle is pretty much the same every time unless you mess it up, but it's easy. Alright, here's another example of me saying, like, I did a lot of horizontal tapping before vertical movement, because, as you can see, without ink, I'm kind of screwed towards the top. That was a fairly good level, other than taking a little too much damage at the beginning. This is another very difficult level, so if I die here, I will not be surprised. But I think this run has been deathless so far, so I'm actually really pleased with that. Deathless runs are not common. Like, even my PB has a death in an auto-scroller. That went pretty well, though. I'll be able to judge it by the audio cue on this next level. Yeah, that was pretty fast. And here I'm trying to make a kind of tight cycle, so I'm going to be trying to do some very specific movement. Okay, got it. I'll make this cycle handily. Didn't mean to get hit there, but that doesn't matter nearly as much as making that first gate cycle. Alright, here's another mini-boss coming up. I don't really like this one just because it's a lot of waiting. Basically just have to, like, bait these enemies into the pit. I'm not doing a great job of it. Let's hope I can do this damageless. I'm gonna wait here because I don't usually make that cycle. From here, I'm just trying to space out my rolls quickly because rolling up hills is actually pretty fast. I'm gonna not loop as much and just roll a little more on the hills. Not gonna make that cycle, but that's fine. I'll make this one. Alright, not bad. And like I said, a deathless run through Volatile Volcano is very special. Alright, and shoutouts to the best music in the game here. And they even gave you an auto-scroller at the end of this level to prolong the amazing music, so you can all be thankful to Hal for that. This is what is known as the butter building music, but here there is no butter building in this game, so it's just Silent Seabed is the name. I'm gonna ditch stone here because now it's all just upward, and basically this is gonna be a bunch of frantic tapping, hoping I don't take too much damage. Some call me the Tap God. Just kidding, no one ever calls me that. So I wish they would. Alright, this is a fairly difficult room right here, just because it's completely underwater. As most of this level is, actually. I don't need that power, but I'll gladly take it. It's technically slower, but because I'm just gonna ditch it in a second anyway after this button. But it was nice while I had it, so thank you, game. Here, I'm going to try and go the opposite direction of the flow, and that worked pretty well. That's actually pretty difficult. Alright, good level so far. Alright, here's the auto-scroller part, so if you have donations, go ahead.
No new donations, but I'll kind of talk about what we were doing here.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've hit our donation goal to get both Suzuri and Honky to AGDQ. So thank you so much, everybody who's donated, everybody who's helped with the stream, everybody who's run. Thank you to the Tap God here, of course. So all further donations are going to go to Doctors Without Borders at this point, but you can still donate to get a file name or to win a prize. We have the grand prize, which I'll type thing into chat. And we have some file names coming up, which I guess I'll go over a couple of real fast. So we have the Oracle of Ages file name, again, Mr. Nug, the great McNuggies 420's father, of course. Mr. Nug is leading with $42. Ed is slightly behind at 30. We have all of the Final Fantasy VII character names, all with 9 letters. They're all available. Some of them are easier than others. Boom Shaka for Sid is only at $10. Lost JPEG as Eris is only at $10. RPC as Barrett is only $5. So a couple of these are pretty easy to snipe if you want to do that. We also have the Link's Awakening DX file name, 5 Hiragana characters. Wada is in the lead at $20. Dongari at $5. So if any of those strike your fancy at all, only send us a donation. It's still going to the charity, and you're still helping out with JRTA. So thanks.
Alright, auto-scroller over. Time for Pink Panic 2. Here, the shapes aren't really necessarily that much more complex, but they just have more vertices. And this one's kind of hard just because, you know, like I said, ones that are really close together are difficult for me on this tiny screen, but they're not hard. I'm just gonna go as fast as I'm comfortable so that I don't drop any inputs, or drop as few as I can. I just drop them right there. Like I said, that part's kinda hard. This is fine. Just hope I don't miss any of these. Alright, I got a good pattern, so I wasn't really at risk there.
I just wanted to say shoutouts to you, Beat.
Shoutouts to you, Beat.
Alright. Alright, and we are fast approaching the last few levels of the game. That was the last boss fight, by the way, up until the final boss. Here come 3 of the longest and hardest levels in the game, so let's hope all goes well. There's going to be a hard skip in this level here. There aren't very many skips in this game in general, but at least on an RTA level, but this one in particular is actually really difficult, so hope it goes well. I didn't want that, but I'll pick it. Ugh, I don't want to be taking damage right now. If this run isn't deathless, it'll be because of this level, I'm telling you right now. Well, no, I shouldn't say that, because I'm at a lot of risk of dying in some other ones. I'm gonna grab a checkpoint up here for safety. That will save me a lot of heartache if I do accidentally die in this next part, which isn't likely, but, you know, you never know what's gonna happen. Well, I got the health, so that's a good sign that I won't die, actually. Here I go kind of slow just so I fit right in between those icicles. Alright, coming up on one of the harder tricks in the run. This is technically an auto-scroller, but it's not an auto-scroller in the same sense that most of the auto-scrollers actually like lock your camera. This one, you just aren't able to move because of the ink field. You just fall to your death. So on a task level, it can actually be skipped, but RTA, no. Alright, let's hope this goes well. I'm gonna attempt to skip some platforms here. I have a pretty good visual cue for it. Okay, got it. Alright. We can all breathe. I'm known to mess that up on really good paces, so glad I got it. I might have missed the first cycle, maybe. I actually don't really know how the cycles work, but Got it first try, that's all that matters. I always grab this checkpoint just for safety. This is a really long level, and I don't even want to imagine how much time I would lose without that checkpoint. I've never not gotten that checkpoint just because of how long this screen is. That's not what I wanted, but okay. Just gonna go... yeah, sure, that works. No. Okay. Alright, that's fine. Alright, another auto-scroller. There are actually 3 auto-scrollers in this section, technically. The one that you just saw, which is not an actual auto-scroller, but is a fake auto-scroller. This is a real auto-scroller, and there will be one more in the last level. The auto-scrollers aren't really that bad. This is probably the longest, I want to say. But even this is not bad. My main goal here is just to not die.
Don't forget that if you donate $20 at any point during this marathon, you are entered into a drawing for a Super Famicom with cables and a controller, courtesy of Retro Saiku. Donate that all at once or in a bunch of little donations if you like. Any of that is fine.
Something I didn't mention before is medals. We don't grab any in any percent because they're not needed, and they waste time to collect, and there's also an animation associated with grabbing them that is slow-ish. So, yeah. Medals are completely useless, in case anyone was wondering. Alright, here's the hardest mini-boss in the game coming up. It follows this really annoying section where I'm not allowed to use any ink. I just have to fall into these specific pits. And I messed that up a little bit. As long as I fall into the right one, it's fine. Okay, yeah, this is very difficult. I have to drag these bombs with my face to these specific locations, and I'm on 1 health right now, so I'm kind of worried. Like there, I don't want to do that. And these, if I touch them, I'll just die, so... This is a bad one not to get early. Come on. Here, this angle will do me well. There we go. That should get it. Okay. Jeez, alright. I just did not want to die, because dying is really costly. I'm probably going to die very soon to one of these lasers, but... fine. No, I didn't die. Alright. There's actually health right here for me to take. Alright, and this portal is really annoying. It moves around in a set pattern that I actually don't have memorized, so we're just gonna hope that I find it quickly. Alright, I did. And the last level of the game, before the Well, there's technically a level that precedes the final boss, but I consider it part of the final boss. Alright, and this screen is all about ink management, because it's very vertical and you can't touch anything, as you can see. I'm just going to take this nice and easy. That's fine. Alright, cool. Didn't mean to get that. Okay. Thanks, game. There should be some easy health to pick up on the way down. As long as I just don't hit something sharp, I'll be okay. Right here is health. Good. Okay. Oh no, okay. Of course I did that. Alright, this is fine, this is fine. This is actually no worse than I would do typically, honestly. Alright, on to the last auto-scroller of the game, which actually goes by pretty quickly, but is fairly easy to die, actually, just because you have a large risk of getting crushed, while also having to dodge all these stupid spikes. As some of you might notice, this song is a remix of Nightmare's theme from Nightmare in Dreamland, I'm pretty sure. Okay, as long as I don't take another hit, there should be health right here. Yep, all good. And man, we are fast on our way to a deathless run, which is more than I could ever hope for in a marathon. That is fantastic. I shouldn't speak too soon though, because I can still die. Alright, there we go. As long as I don't die in the final boss. Alright, so this is just like a little warm-up level before JRTA, the final boss. And the damage you take here carries over, so I'm trying not to take any damage before I get to the fight, which I did not. Alright, let's go. Alright, shoutouts to like the best music of any Kirby game right here. What I'd really like here is a 4-cycle, and fairly difficult to get, but I just had a really good start. So I can mess up still, and still get a 4-cycle, just because of how good that first loop was. The way this boss works is, she just does a bunch of patterns, and then eventually she'll shoot out some fireballs, which I reflect back at her, and then I can loop hit her into her. Okay, that was actually fantastic. I am almost definitely going to get a 4-cycle if I don't mess up. And now I just go through a bunch of phases where she like spawns stuff and makes spikes appear, etc. All while I'm waiting to make her vulnerable so I can hit her. This is all completely random, by the way. It's not. This is not scripted, except for the first part, which you could argue is pretty scripted. Okay, yeah, this is most definitely a 4-cycle. As long as I get 3 hits off. Fantastic. Alright. Oh, I just dropped my stylus. Wow, that could have been really bad. This is actually a pretty bad pattern to get. Oh, come on. Okay, got the 4-cycle. That's the best you can do. Yeah, this actually might be sub 110, which is fantastic. It's all up to RNG though. This is a lot more RNG dependent than the first part is. Let's just hope I get a good pattern. You can actually... You can't even accurately say cycles in this boss because she can just go so long without ever being vulnerable, and there are periodic attacks that damage her anyway that I wouldn't argue is a cycle that bring down her health. So it's, I don't know, it's really hard to argue that there are cycles in this. There are 2 definite things though in this fight, which are sort of like normal fight and then panic mode fight, where things get a little more hectic towards the end. This is a fairly good pattern though so far, it hasn't been too slow. Oh, and this is actually really good that I'm getting a lot of these. This might be what I call a quote-unquote 3-cycle. If she does at least one more of the paramatter, which you just saw, then I can definitely see this being a quote-unquote 3-cycle. Oh. This might be it. Let's hope. It might just be barely too little damage though. This meteor pattern though is, I think, pretty fast. Oh, didn't mean to take damage there. That's fine. Oh, just barely too little. So time is coming up soon, but not as soon as I would have liked. And time.
So you said sub 110 in a marathon would be good, right?
Yeah.
109.35.
All right. Yeah, that is very, very, very good.
Very nice. Congrats.
Deathless run is all I wanted. Thank you for letting me debut this game. I think this was its marathon debut. I don't know if anyone's ever run this before in a marathon, so thank you guys.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for breaking it in. I think you did a good job.
Appreciate it.
All right, everybody. Be sure to give GloriousLiar a follow there. The Twitch listed there on the page. Coming up next, we have the Mario block. And actually, while I have a minute here, just want to also remind you, for the Kirby fans in the chat, we do have some more Kirby games coming up in this marathon too. Let me just find the times here so I can give them to you. Tomorrow, looking at like around noon Eastern time, we've got Kirby Superstar, followed by Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, and then Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. So there's plenty of Kirby remaining. Okay, I believe you are good to go.
Alright, thanks.
And we will set up for the next game. Thank you.
All right, just a minute while we set up for the next run. We'll be right back.
Okay, I think they can hear.
Oh, can they?
Yes, it's live.
The,
Say hello, everyone.
Yeah, everyone just needs to tell me if my voice is too loud, if the game audio is too loud, because that's like a big thing.